Welcome to episode 44 of the Re44 podcast. I'm your host, Bradley Charbonneau. Today I have Erin Attwood on the line, and I'm just going to give you the whole chat we had because there's lots of goodness, and I just hit record once we started talking because it's one of those things where you say, okay, let's record now, and then but you had 3 minutes of good stuff. So I just hit record as we got on the phone, and there is lots of good stuff. I mean, for example, I have two books coming out called Ask and Create, because they are, I think, difficult, challenging things for a lot of people, and they don't do them. And Erin is doing both of them. And she has some good tips on both of them on how to get started, especially with asking. Because what she's doing right now, she's doing a lot of asking, and it's paying off. And if you're scared of asking, she has some really good tips on how to get started with it. So I'm just going to let you sit in on our call, and I hope you enjoy it. And we have a summit. She has a summit, I'm part of it, coming up in the next few days, and I'll put a link in there how to sign up. It's free for, I think, 27 interviews over the course of 3 weeks or so, starting February 18th, 2019. So jump on that, go check out the interviews, and if you can imagine that it's even better than the call we had, that's where it's heading. So I hope you enjoy the call, enjoy this interview summit she's got going on, and let me know what you think. Thanks again. It's episode 44, Re44 podcast. I'm Bradley. Talk to you next week. Record already, just because.
Sure.
And because last time when we talk, it often happens, you hang up and then you're like, oh, the official thing is over, so now we can be casual, and then the good stuff comes out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know, I'm good at being casual.
Yeah,
Name of my
me too.
Erin
It's,
Casual Attwood.
I mean, it's kind of all I know. And in fact, a lot of people tell me, they're like, please keep with that.
Yeah.
Just stick with that, please. The professional, we have enough of that in the world.
You know, one of my number one core values is authenticity. So if I'm anything other than that,
Yeah,
what's the point?
yeah, yeah,
So glad to be here with you, brother.
yeah. Hey, so I really have two main questions. Um, so I have two books coming out, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
One called Create and one called Ask.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I like writing books that they say a really good tip is to write the book you'd like to read yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find creating I don't find difficult anymore, but I know a lot of people do. But
Mm-hmm.
asking I still find difficult.
Sure.
And they also, teach, if you really want to learn it, teach it.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, that's what I'm going to do through these books. I'm learning and getting better at the things I'm either okay at or good at or just want to get better at. And I'm going to be doing this through doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I
Sure.
really liked about what you're doing is that you're doing both creating and asking in one fell swoop
Yeah.
with your interviews. And because
Yeah.
you're daring to ask, right? You're totally going like practically door to door, knocking on doors, asking strangers to talk with you. And and then I mean like digital doors, right? And
Yeah.
then you're creating content. And both of those things are scary for a
Yeah.
lot of people anyway. And
For
that's
me too.
okay,
Yeah.
good. And that's what I want to talk about. And I want to talk about them from two perspectives, sort of the, business perspective side, build your brand and all that good stuff. But then
Mm-hmm.
also from the personal side, because I think the whole connecting and communicating with people on the phone rather than emails or something. And even you and I were on video, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, even better is in person, but
Mm-hmm.
connecting with, real humans, imagine, is
Right.
just underrated.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And
Uh,
so, yep. So I just jumped into all of that. So feel free to let the audience know where you're coming from. How we know each other, or how we're together, what you're doing, and then I want to get into a bit of the behind the scenes, and also sort of you don't have to give away all your secrets, but how you're doing it
mhm,
in some helpful way for people who are both, again, the business side, like looking to build their brand, and then
mhm.
from a personal side, I mean, what I'm really inspired by is you're talking to cool people. You're on the phone with interesting people having conversations. Like, wow, It seems so simple, but it's awesome.
Yeah. We're all made of the same material, Bradley, right? So we all have the same fears. We all have the same emotions. It's just a matter of how we express them and what we do with them. So I am putting together an online series. It's a short series. It's going to last about 3 weeks, and it's just several interviews from different influencers and experts, you being one of those. So thank you very much for being a part of it.
You're welcome.
And it's really just about, it's very much geared towards women who want to be better physically, in their own minds, but really need to be better emotionally and mentally. And so putting together a series that with a a well-rounded group of individuals who are just like you and me and anybody listening, who excel in different areas, right? So we have some chefs, we have some nutrition coaches, we have some doctors, we have some entrepreneurs, and really just trying to hit the full spectrum of mind, body, and soul health, and how you achieve those through different eyes. And so yeah, that's what I'm putting together.
Wow. Mind,
But
body, and soul health.
mhm.
Wow. And you talked briefly about how, because you are very much in the physical world as far as your work and background. Is that right?
Correct.
Nutrition, um, and body and workout. Am I right?
Yeah, it's I mean, what I call myself, I guess, is an intuitive health, nutrition, and lifestyle coach.
Oh, cool. I like it.
So that's kind of it is very physical, but a lot of
Okay.
it is the unknown of the emotional and the mental.
But see, I think so. You mentioned this on email, and I thought this was really interesting because you were saying how, it's harder to reach people when you're talking about sort of the inner,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the outer, physical, it's easier, it's more tangible. People are, oh, okay, I get that. Oh, I know what they're doing. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
get it. Oh, that would be good for me. And I totally understand what you're doing, and it makes sense. And
Mm-hmm.
so sort of from the business perspective, I see how you say, okay, let's get the shiny object, the easy to relate to topic to sort of get them in the door. And then you can go crazy with all the good and even more important stuff, the inner,
Yeah,
come to that once they're sort of in the door. And then they'll be okay because they're already in the door. I'm
sure.
just sort of
You
analyze or trying to analyze what you're doing. And I really like it. And I think you're right.
Yeah,
And,
there's a personal turmoil that comes within that too, because it's easy to feel like a fraud when you're saying what people want to hear.
hmm,
But in order to really change their life, they're not going to come to you if you don't tell them what they want to hear.
yeah,
So is it in my own mind, I'm like, am I lying to people? No, but I'm giving them the very superficial thing that they want the most. And in the end result, they're going to get that. But
yeah,
the work within that, in my mind, I want to be like, manage your mind and, fix your thoughts. And people are like, well, I don't need to do that. So that doesn't, from a brand or a business perspective, it doesn't get the people in the door. I know that I can change their lives, but if I don't speak their language, I have no choice or I have no chance. So it's
yeah.
kind of that like internal, like, man, like, part of me is like, I want to just tell the truth, but I know in order to tell my truth, I need to speak the language they understand.
Wow.
So
That's good stuff. That's really insightful, helpful for people because I suffer from the same thing. I have all of my lofty ideas, my
hmm
literary, fantastic, deep philosophical ideas.
hmm
And I have these, I'll occasionally come up with book titles that people would say, no, I think I understand what you're talking about. And it's super clever, but no, it took me 4 minutes to figure out what you're talking about. And I even
hmm
know you and I'm not going to buy your book because I don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm like,
Right. We
okay,
got,
okay,
what is it?
fine.
We have like 3 seconds in our society to get somebody's attention now, like commercials used to be 3 minutes long.
Right.
Now it's like, now it's like 12 seconds because that's
Yeah.
all they need.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've been writing a lot of nonfiction, and then it's okay. Then you're allowed to say, here's how to do it. Here's what it
hmm
is. I'll
hmm
just be straightforward. But what's fun, what I really, and I think is even more fun, is kind of what you're doing through my fiction. So I have a fictional series. It's sort of like paranormal, but I have to like sneak in the goodies and, you know, keep the
Mm-hmm.
story going, keep them into it with the characters and the story. But then I'm like sneaking in my sort of personal development help into my
Yeah.
fictional story. And they're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh look, well the character did this. Then it's
Yeah.
okay. It's kind of weird.
Yes, totally.
Then it's fine.
Totally. Right. It's
What?
nobody's telling because it's their idea now. It's
Ah,
not somebody telling you what to do. It's now you're telling yourself that that's okay. You've been given permission through a fictional character.
wow. See, you just did it again. You keep taking something I say, you look at it from a different perspective, and you give me a new perspective. Thank
That's
you.
why we all need each other.
It is. And see,
Because
this
you
is,
say things in
yeah,
a way that I'm like, oh yeah, totally. Like I could
yeah,
get that.
yeah. Wow, I'm really looking forward to your interviews because you turn things around and you look at it from a different way, and then you even help the person who said the thing understand it even better. And then
Hmm.
ideally the listener is going to get two perspectives on the same topic, and hopefully one of those will land.
It's amazing. Everyone
Yeah.
speaks a different language.
Yeah. Wow.
I learned as a trainer, sometimes you have to explain the same exercise 30 different times before somebody understands what the heck you're actually asking them to do. And so I've
Yeah.
become very good at learning how to explain one thing in multiple different ways,
Okay.
which I actually not never thought about until just now, this moment. So thank you.
Yeah. See, this is a perfect example of how real feedback, real communication, it helps, and we need it. You know,
Mhm.
we can read books, we can whatever, watch the films. It's much more passive. See, and that's why I'm back to the create and the ask. And you have to be active. You have to engage because
Mhm.
that's what happens. That the
Mhm.
unexpected is going to happen. You can, if you do your thing on your own and you just go forward, then yeah, you can probably guess what's going to happen. You know, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Mhm.
But when it's back and forth and it's 1, 2, oh, 2A, 2B, ooh, sidetrack, ooh, tangent. Ooh, that's even more.
Mhm.
Forget 3, let's skip to 4.
Man, I have a problem with going on tangents because then I forget what the actual thing is that I was talking about. And then I just start going off on something else. So it's a blessing and a curse because my mind can go a million different ways in the middle of trying to explain one concept. And then I completely forget what it was by the time, I have analogies within the middle or whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's an
yeah.
art to that. It's hard. I'm not so good at that either. But that's why sometimes you have to think back, okay, what were we talking about? 1, 2, oh yeah,
Hmm.
4.
Hmm.
Oh, no, we skipped 3.
Yep.
Wow. Hey, so whenever I'm writing books, it's fun because then almost everything I think of or everything in my day, I can relate it to a book somehow. Really fun.
Hmm.
And so another one of my books is called Ask.
Yep.
And this is so creating for me is really easy. I love writing. For me, it's like an outlet. It's a relaxing thing. It's fun, easy.
Hmm.
But I know that a lot of people it's not, so that's why I'm writing that one. But ask, I struggle with ask a lot more. And I'm talking the whole spectrum of asking, big stuff, who am I? What do I want to be in my life? That kind of stuff, all the way down to, hey, do you want to be in my interview series?
Right.
Right? Which seems so like just quick question, but
Hmm.
if you're that scares you, then it's scary as hell. So I want to
Yeah.
ask you about your asking aspect of, well, especially this interview series. I mean, if you have other examples of
Yeah.
asking, some tips for people who are scared, but like, how did you get these dozens of interviews? How did that work? How did you get over your asking fear?
I'm going to bring it back to like I can't help but remember when I was in high school
Hmm.
and there is so much insecurity built during that time of any person's life because we are so naive that we think if somebody's different than us that they're wrong or it's bad or if somebody tells us that we're different in some way depending on how they phrase it, we now become insecure because we think that we shouldn't be that way. So asking questions in class becomes a scary thing from the beginning of our learning experience, right? So you don't want to ask a question because you don't want to feel like the stupid one. You think everybody else already knows because nobody else is asking, right? So, then growing up and just feeling that way that's the first part of it. And then, the second part is then so many people are very skeptical nowadays because there's so many fake people who are stuck in their own like lies that they feel like they need to be a certain way or a certain whatever. And so, any high performer, any, successful entrepreneur, business owner, influencer, personal, or public figure, we're skeptical. We're skeptical because we don't know the intention of this person. And so asking is scary as an adult. When you're trying to reach, like I reached out to like Ellen DeGeneres and I reached out to like Oprah and like people, I'm like, you know what, who knows, but I'm going to give it a fucking shot because if I don't, I will lose 100% of the time. So maybe they'll think I'm stupid. Maybe they'll like not even give me the time of day, but at least I did my best. So it is scary, it's not. And I think the more you ask, the more you become okay with asking. And you can start small. Simply asking for help, making dinner or doing the dishes or, simple things, just asking for help. Or, if you have a heavy box from Costco you need to put in your car and you can't lift it up, asking somebody who looks like they are, like, hey, can you help me with this? Like, just, and then build your way up. We all have the same fear. And so if I can provide any kind of ease, it is that you're not alone. But if you don't try, I remember when I played basketball in high school, there was a poster up in the locker room that said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
If you don't shoot the ball, it will never get you points.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard one about writing recently. It says, my crappy book is a zillion times better than the book you haven't written.
Yes. Oh man, there was something else I heard lately too that said, I think it was a quote I read on some social media platform, I'm sure. Probably going to butcher it. But it's like, the only people who will criticize you are the people who are not doing as much as you are.
Oh, wow.
And that could be the same thing, right? If you're reaching out to somebody who you're nervous to reach out to for help, it's probably because they're doing a lot. But that very thing means that they would never criticize you because they know what it's like to ask for help. Because you don't get there without asking for help.
Okay, so you just took it up one level because now you're making me think of, so Seth Godin has a new book, I think it's called This Is Marketing or something. And he has a line in there that I used as a post title because I thought it was so good. And it was something like, people like this do things like that, or something like that, right? And so, and he was making a big divide. And if you're on the side of the people who don't do things like that, then that's who you are. And if you're at the people who do things like that, then you're on that side. And so with you just said how the people who criticize are the ones who don't do it or don't do it as much. So, and that's what I'm also getting at with creating and asking. I'm really looking for action. And that's and that I find that really then sets you apart. Because it's not talking about it, it's not wishing for it, it's not dreaming about it, it's not someday, you're doing it. And I think that freaks some people out because then they're envious because you're taking action and they're not. But it also, I mean, oh well, sucks to be them, kind of, sorry. But on the other hand, you also inspire and you immediately create followers because you are the one doing the action. You are taking the action. So you are already, at least in my book, a step up. And
it's a symbol of courage and bravery.
Yeah.
Which everybody wants.
Yeah. Oh, courage and bravery.
Seth Godin also says the cost of being wrong is less than the cost of doing nothing. So, I mean, if you reach out to somebody and you're like, right, I watched a TED Talk lately on being wrong and how we think it's bad, right? But being wrong is simply you thought something was going to go one way and then it went a different way.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Like, it's really not the end of the world, but it's such a big, scary thing. But yeah, the cost of being wrong is less than the cost of doing nothing.
So I like what you said, because I feel that, see, now that I write every day. I even publish every day. I'm a madman.
Yeah. What are you on? Like 2,000 and something days?
Yeah, 2,317 or something.
I love
And
that you
so,
know the exact number.
yeah,
And a half.
but and I sometimes, not sometimes, I often need to take a step back, because if I'm talking with somebody who's scared of writing or scared of doing anything every day, my first reaction is, well, what's the big deal? Come on, just deal with it. Just do it, right? And I said, no, be nice and think back to when you before day one, when you were just suffering and whining and back and forth, and how
Gouge your
am
eye
I going
out.
to start? And because I also didn't want to be wrong, I didn't want to fail.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't taking any shots, but I wasn't making any either.
Yeah.
And so, I think I even quoted in our talk, I said something like, I guess I thought that was going okay for me.
Yeah.
And,
Until you realized you were wrong.
yeah, I was wrong, but I was wrong for not trying. And that's just, it's such a big turning point. And that's one of the main things I'm shooting for, is for people to take action, to create, to ask. And I really like what you said, because you brought it down to daily terms that people can understand. You said something like, hey, could you help me with my groceries? And that's so small, and people can relate it to whatever they want to relate it to, whether it's not groceries or whatever, just in their daily lives, a small thing, and then they can build up. And next thing you know, they're asking Ellen DeGeneres, to be on your show.
Someday I'll be on her show. I know it.
So speaking of tangents, I have two nieces. They're now 17, but when they were, 12, we were on vacation together as a holiday. And they were in their beds and they were watching something on iPads or laptops or something. And my sister and I were kind of, what are they watching? They need to go to bed, or they need to whatever, come to dinner. I can't remember. And we said, what are you guys watching? And they turn it over. It's Ellen. And they just said, we love her.
Good. She's
like
such a good influence.
12 or something. How do you love her?
She's such a good influence.
Oh, she's so great. She's so
Man,
great.
when you can be identified by your first name, you did it.
Yeah. And if you can get 12-year-old girls, think of all of the interesting, fascinating things 12-year-old girls are interested in. And Ellen, really? Wow. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of tangents, there's my Ellen tangent.
That's a great tangent.
Yeah. Speaking of authenticity, you were talking about authenticity earlier. Wow. She's just it. She just sits in her chair and talks with anybody, some no one and some huge star, and she's just herself.
Yeah, what you see is what you get, and I think that's the most important thing, and why social media has damaged us so bad and given us so many more insecurities than we had before. I remember when we used to run down the street, and I didn't even wear a shirt. I'm a girl. I didn't even wear a shirt when I was 11 or something. I'm just running down the street with a backwards hat, no shirt on, knocking on my friend's door, can you come play? Times have definitely changed, and it's so easy to be fake now. So
Hey, so after all of your interviews, what was something? So we're over the scary part. You asked them. You've created this content. You've created this interview series. I'm super looking forward to it. So what were some of the unexpected surprises, good or bad, that came from it?
Oh man, there are some lessons. If I could be very transparent and vulnerable, the first thing that comes to my mind, which is probably the thing I should share because there's a reason it came to my mind first. My superpower is intuition. So here we go. We reached out to probably several hundred people. Wow. No joke. Several hundred people. And we ended up with 27. Wow. And so one of the emails that we wrote gave an influencer the wrong impression. And so she wrote back as being disappointed. And for me, I'm like, wow, shit, I don't want to disappoint people. And it was a tough email for me to respond to, and everything in my human nature said, just leave it where it is.
Mm.
And I couldn't settle with that because I knew I had to make this right. So I wrote a very nice email back, you know, understanding why this person felt the way that they did and apologizing for being misleading and that it was not the intention. However, I do understand. And, you know, then she wrote back and she said, wow, I'm really thankful that you wrote back because it gives me hope that there are good people in this world. And so thank you. Now I feel much better. And I don't really know how that relates to what you were you were asking me,
Well,
but
I'm going to take it back to basketball because so if you miss a shot, then what do? Your next shot is probably better because you
yeah,
learn from missing, and you're going to adjust your elbow and your fingers, and you're going to give it more power, less power, and the next one's going to be better. So if you hadn't reached out to that person, then you never would have had this. You never would have had the potential downside of getting that email, but then you
yeah,
wouldn't have thought about it and, oh, what am I going to do? And responded and then got back what probably took you higher than your original neutral position,
it
and
absolutely
lifted
did.
you up even higher.
Yeah, and when you go to basketball, you miss a shot, you make your adjustments so that you can do better on the next one and get closer or make it. But, that requires a little bit of discomfort, right? Like you have to adjust, your elbow maybe doesn't feel good in that position or whatever, And so for me, I was very uncomfortable. And I think that discomfort is the common denominator for all forward movement.
Wow.
So at some point, if you're getting uncomfortable, you're in the right spot. And if you're comfortable, you're not getting better. And if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
That's such a killer, though, what you're saying. If you're uncomfortable, you're moving forward. People don't want to hear that.
My
They want to
girlfriend,
they
my
want to move
girlfriend Sarit
forward and
calls
it's
it.
easy.
My girlfriend Sarit calls it Erin's church. when I
Called it
just
what?
when I Erin's church when I
Oh,
just start going and going and going.
yeah.
So welcome to Erin's church.
Wow.
Yeah, it's what was your original question?
I have surprises,
Oh yes.
experiences. I don't know, ups and downs.
There's
But
also
that's
amazing
what I wanted
things.
to hear. The real from the gut, and that was it. That was clearly it because that was the first one. You couldn't get rid of it either. You had to
Yeah, so
put it out.
to go on a more positive note, there are amazing things that happened. We put together a full show that's going to last 3 weeks with 27 very different people with very different ideas and topics that we have over 1,000 people signed up for, and they're all going to benefit now. And we still have a few more days to get our people in, but it's the fact that and this is just the first show. The next one's going to be bigger, the next one's going to be bigger, or whatever we
Yeah.
decide to do, or however we decide to move forward, we get to help more people, and that's the reward. So there's amazing things that come out of it, way more amazing things than negative things.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
negative things you can just turn into positive things if you choose.
yeah. But you learn from the negative ones probably
Yeah.
more thoroughly or more deeply.
Yeah,
It's
who
like,
said like you learn more from your mistakes than your successes?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that one email, it hurt, but
Yeah.
you took it and you went with it, and you didn't just brush it aside. You learned from it and got better from it, got stronger from it.
Yeah, it would probably still be eating me alive if I hadn't
Yeah,
done
yeah.
anything. But
So this is really good because you are giving some real. Like I still like your helping with the groceries. Just asking because I have to dig back to myself. Where am I
Mhm.
afraid of asking? Who's afraid of creating? But look at all these upsides. Look at these benefits. Look at these people you talk to. You have a thousand people coming to hear 27 different perspectives on improving your mind, body, soul package. And it's just
Mhm.
ah see. And this. I'm back to Seth Godin. People like this do things like that, and you are
Mhm.
now somebody who is now doing things like that, and that's a big turning point. Unless you've done this 25 times, but um, I don't know. Uh, but now that's that's what excites me. I think creating, and then for you to feel like the creator and the one who's doing the thing, it's just so empowering.
Yeah, like find what you're good at, or if you know what you're good at, how can that help somebody else? Because that's really what it's about. Because if you help somebody else, you're helping yourself. So,
Mm.
what are you good at? How can that help somebody else? And who can you ask to either help or to help you help somebody else?
Yeah, yeah. So I think, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm so inspired by your whole summit idea. And I had, just before you and I talked for the first time, I was thinking about it, but you've really sort of made it stronger. But now, I think I told you this, but I wrote 5 books together with my kids. And the
Hmm.
very first one, it's cute, whatever. It's like 38 pages, but we wrote it together. They came up with the creative stuff. I, typed it out, read it back to them, and they would sort of edit. I mean, edit meaning, change that. That was dumb. And then they even recorded the audio for the book, and we did this whole experiment together, and it was super fun. It was like 4 years ago. And,
Hmm.
and so when I tell parents, not even parents, but even just adults about this, all they say is, yeah, that's great about your silly little book, but which they don't care about at all. And then they say, how did you do that? How did you have a creative experience with a younger person, and you completed something in a month? And they say,
Hmm.
I want that. How do you do that?
Hmm. So you
And
got to
so,
read your book, Spark.
yeah, well, but that's exactly what I'm working on. Following your footsteps is I'm working on collecting, just like you said,
Uh-huh.
collecting people related to, somehow it could even be sort of indirectly related to the topic, which is sort of working on a project together with a kid. It doesn't have to be yours. And to complete, and since I'm a writer, I'm going to make it to complete a short book in a month.
Hmm.
And that's my thing. And so I want to guide. I first want to have like a summit, like you're doing, but then I want to have a course which is sort of hands-on, which is a month long, and I'm going to hold hands, not like digitally, hold hold,
Yeah,
hold hands with X number of parents or adults, and we are going to then get a group project, everybody doing their own, together for a month, and finish something in a month, a short book or a
that's
short play.
incredible.
And so that's what I'm working on, much inspired by you. And
Oh, amazing.
yeah, and because I want people to create, because I think
Uh-huh.
creating, it's like crack cocaine. It's like, it's such a high crack, because I'm such a crack cocaine experienced user.
Right.
I don't know. I assume that's why people do it, but it's such a high of creating, and I just want to share that with people.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part, like and like you've explained, is the getting started part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But it takes a lot of effort to move an object from standstill versus when that object's already in motion, right? So,
yeah.
it's just about getting started. I'm looking forward to it. Give me more details, and
Yeah.
it's it's great. Um, it's just community trumps all. And when you can be brave and you can find the courage within yourself to ask people to help you create any kind of movement, whether big or small, whether in your kid's school or, the world, Martin Luther King Jr., like a movement's a movement. It brings people together, and community will trump anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Wow. Well, that's what I'm looking to create too. And people
Yeah.
want to be a part of it. They ask me, like, okay, great. When do I sign up? Tell me.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I
Wow.
love it.
Oh, okay. We have so much goodness oozing out of the both of us. And when we talk, we just lift it up a level. Just love it.
Yeah.
It's
I
great
love
talking
it
with you.
every time. I'll chat with you all day.
Yeah. Good. All right. But for this time, we're going to stop because we have so much good stuff going on in here. I want to stop, and we just have one episode, and I'm happy. And you've already given me a bunch of nuggets of wisdom that I was looking for.
Good.
And
Good.
I'm
And
really
you,
looking
and
forward to your
likewise.
summit.
Awesome. Thanks, Bradley.
Okay. Thanks, Erin. Great talking with you.
All right, you too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.
And oops. Are you still there?
I'm still here. Do you want me to leave it?
Yay. No, I was looking how to stop the recording. Oh, like that.